Hey everybody, this is Nate from RunDreamAchieve.com. Hope you all are having a great day and a great training week. Today's video I wanted to talk on how to run a sub 130 half marathon. I know this is a goal that a lot of athletes around the world are trying to break, and it does take a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort to run this type of quality effort over the half marathon distance. I know how hard it is to be able to sustain 6 minutes and 52 seconds per mile for 13.1 miles, and there's a lot of things that go into it. The more you watch these videos, the more you're going to be able to kind of factor in the things that you've been doing in the past that maybe has not been working for you. And I hope that you can make those changes in 2021 and as we go into the future here in your racing, that you start to get some big benefits from what I've been teaching in these videos. Again, pace sustainment is the key factor in order to break an hour and 30 minutes for the half marathon. It does you no good to be able to go out too fast and to say later to your friends and family, well, I was on 6:30 mile pace for 8 miles, but it's where you're at the finish line that counts. And it's obviously you do want to go after the time and you want to be challenged by this particular goal, but it comes down to where you're at the finish line. I mean, the finish time that you come across and that you finish in does not lie. So it's either you held that under 6 minutes and 52 seconds per mile or you didn't. And if you didn't, don't lose heart and don't lose motivation over that, because it's just your golden moment is only a few races away. I can tell you that along my own path of running eventually 107.06 for the half marathon and 2:19.35 for the marathon, I had a lot of setbacks. I had a lot of times where I questioned if I was capable of running the types of times that I was wanting to run. And I can guarantee you that had I quit, or had I let somebody else who may have said that I didn't have what it takes get the best of me, I would have never ran as fast as I did. And in fact, I remember running when I was stationed at Fort Carson, Colorado. I wasn't yet a member of the Army World Class Athlete Program, but I remember having a personal best of 2 hours, 43 minutes and 36 seconds. And I remember training with a guy who was pretty blunt in how he communicated. I'll say that. He was a 2:16 flat marathoner, an NCAA champion in the 10,000 meter, who was a member of the World Class Athlete Program. That's also headquartered at Fort Carson. So I was in another unit, in a line unit, basically a supply unit on the base. And I remember him saying that if I were you, I would quit. 2 hours and 43 minutes and 36 seconds is too slow to do anything on the national stage. And I just couldn't believe that somebody could be that blunt. So I think it's really important to if you're running to run under an hour and 30 minutes, it's going to come down to your level of motivation. Just like it was a matter of me listening to my own heart and saying, I know I'm capable of running under 2 hours and 22 minutes, which back then was the 2008 USA Olympic Trials B standard time. It was a minimum standard time that I needed to be a part of the Army World Class Athlete Program. So if I would have let him say, if I would have let his comment of me, my time being too slow, get the best of me, and if I would have quit, I would have never ran 2:19.35. And in fact, I ran that time on a course that he ran 2:20.02 on. So this is the same guy telling me to quit. If I were you, I'd quit. So I think it's very important, if you want to run a sub 130 half marathon, you listen to your gut and you listen to your own heart. And if you have other people and associates around you saying that you don't have the capability to run under an hour and 30 minutes for the half marathon, you need to steer clear of them. Or if you have no choice, just focus on your goals. Put in the heavy work, do the things that I teach in the other videos. In fact, I have a running course on RunDreamAchieve.com specifically for athletes that are trying to break 1 hour and 30 minutes for the half marathon. You need to get well accustomed to running closer to around 6 minutes to 6:10 per mile pace in training. If you can get to a point where you're doing your mile repeats closer to around 6 minutes, it's going to make that 6:52 mile pace feel easier. And that's the ultimate goal that you want. You want to be able to sustain pace for the entire duration of the race. It does, you know, holding 6:52 mile pace for 10 miles and then falling apart the last 5 kilometers of the race. Again, big achievement. You've done 10 miles of the or 16 kilometers of that race, of the 21.1 kilometer race. Right on. So you've definitely made some gains, but you need to be able to sustain it for the entire last 5 kilometers of the race. So I think a lot of things in terms of how to run a sub 130 half marathon, you need to pay attention to quality over quantity. You need to focus on your nutrition. Are you staying equipped in terms of your iron consumption? One of a big reason why a lot of athletes start to lose capability is they could be running low on iron or ferritin. Iron plays a heavy role in oxygen transport to your cells. So when you sweat, you lose a lot of iron through sweat, and also through what is called foot strike hemolysis, where every time your foot hits the ground, you're bursting red blood cells, and that also causes you to become anemic. And that's what happened to me in 2007. I never knew I was running so low on iron until I got a blood test. And it was my coach at the time, Lisa Rainsberger, the 1985 Boston Marathon champion. She said, hey, you have the capability to run much faster, but you could be running low on iron, and I highly advise you getting a blood test. And sure enough, I was running extremely low on iron and ferritin, which is a component of iron. And those are very, like I said, if you're running low on that, it doesn't matter how motivated or how driven you are, you're not going to be able to perform on a physiological level. And obviously that affects you mentally as well. When you know you have the capability to do it, but you just simply aren't physiologically healthy enough to be able to do it. And these are some of the things that really you could be running very low on. Glutathione, it's the body's master antioxidant. Very few athletes I've known over the years have known anything about glutathione. So I highly recommend, if you want to run under an hour and 30 minutes, you start researching ferritin, the effects of low ferritin, low iron, low glutathione in the body. These 3 nutrients are absolutely essential for your cells to function at 100% capability. If you're running low on these, it's very difficult for your, in terms of your oxygen carrying capacity to be at its highest level. Obviously, if you're wanting to run under an hour and 30 minutes for the half marathon, you need to become very well trained on an anaerobic level. So that means doing longer tempo runs. If early on, like I've talked about in other videos, and it was the same for me too, it's going to be very difficult for you to be able to run 2 to 4 miles at tempo effort in the first few weeks of your training block. And that's how I've set up the running course on RunDreamAchieve.com for athletes that are trying to go under 130. I also have training programs too, which is it's just the training program itself. And it's not the tutorial videos where we go really in depth on exactly what you need to be doing to run under an hour 30. So the course is a little bit more expensive as opposed to just the training program itself. If you just want a program written out, you know what you need to be doing on for 4 months straight. If that's where you would prefer to have, I would highly recommend the training program. If you want to know much more in depth, where we actually dig into the weeds in regards to what you need to be doing psychologically and physiologically and in terms of your training on an anaerobic and aerobic effort basis, definitely go with the running course. A sub 130 half marathon will definitely challenge you physically and mentally. It is a very competitive time. Very few people around the world run 1:29:59 or faster for the half marathon each year. You're really in the elite type of athlete to be able to run that fast for a half marathon. Definitely get beyond just running long, slow distance every weekend for your long run. You need to increase the pace of your long runs if you're going to be able to run 1:29:59. It doesn't mean you have to run hard every single weekend for long periods of time. It just means you want to eventually, as your fitness builds, you want to gradually extend the amount of time you're training at a higher percentage of your maximum heart rate during that long run. And that could be to when you're getting very fit, that could be around running, say, 50 to 60% of that long run at about 25 to 30 seconds slower than your goal race pace. So still very high quality running, you know, right around 720 pace, somewhere around there per mile. For my friends out there who are not in the United States, that go with the kilometers, definitely just factor in the kilometer pace, say 720 if you're trying to aim for that 652 mile pace. Going around 20 to 30 seconds slower than goal race pace for those harder paced long runs, and extending the amount of time you're spending will make you very efficient at clearing lactic acid faster than it's building up in your bloodstream. And that's what you want. That's why all these runners, these top middle distance and long distance runners, make it look easy, because they're the ones that are training at much higher anaerobic efforts so that they can make AT pace, your anaerobic threshold pace, feel easier. They're very highly developed in terms of how they've trained trained at VO2 max effort. That's really where you're training at maximum effort, where you can really only spend a few seconds to a few minutes training at that particular effort. If you're training at that type of intensity, you're creating such high amounts of lactic acid that your body simply can't clear it faster than it's building up. So it's very painful, it's challenging, it will stress you to the limit, but at the same time, because you're training one workout per week at VO2 max effort, it's going to make the capability to run under an hour and 30 minutes feel a lot easier. So I hope that makes sense. These topics are very complex. There's a lot of different areas that I could go into. And that's why I make so many different videos and kind of variations of the videos, because you can go back and kind of factor in some things that I talked about in terms of breaking an hour and 30, and then find another video that I go a little bit more in specific detail about. So I think doing track workouts where you're training at VO2 max effort once per week, you're extending the duration of your long runs, and not just running long, slow, and easy every weekend, but alternating a harder long run followed by a jog, relaxed, easy long run the following week, extending the amount of time you're spending at your lactate threshold, your anaerobic threshold. That will also make you very efficient at the half marathon distance and breaking an hour and 30. But you also have to spend time, like I said, training between 6 minutes and like 6 minutes and 30 seconds so that you can get that 652 mile pace to feel easier for you. And it's going to hurt. It's definitely going to hurt in the last, especially the last 10 kilometers of the half marathon, no matter how fit you are. So you have to mentally be in the race as well. Visualization. You must do this more often than your competition, because your competition, I guarantee you, is neglecting this piece. The mental training aspect of your preparation is going to make you dangerous when it comes to competing against your competition. They may be doing the physical training, but how much time are they spending mentally rehearsing, going over, seeing themselves running an hour and 29 minutes and 59 seconds? Are you doing that? How much time are you spending? You know, and you don't need to spend a lot of time, 10 to 15 minutes every day, or even before you go to bed each night. Visualize yourself getting across the finish line with 1:29:59 on the clock. Now, you can't just visualize success. You have to obviously couple that with hard anaerobic work along with easy, relaxed aerobic training so you can recover from those hard workouts you're doing. So that's my tips on how to run a sub 1:30 half marathon. Again, it's very complex. It's a very fast, highly competitive time. It's a time that you definitely can run, but you have to be very cognizant of all of the areas that are going to set you up for success. Making sure you're running easy on your long runs, and recovering from the previous week's very hard long run. jogging on your easy days so that you can really get the most return on your investment from the hard anaerobic workouts you're doing. Paying attention to your sleep, nutrition, hydration, training once per week at your VO2 max effort. So that's like examples of that are 12 to 16 times 200 meter repetitions on the track, maybe 6 times 1 mile on the track, at your 5K, 3K to 10K effort. Those are types of examples of what VO2 max training is like. It's very, very hard anaerobic effort that you can only spend a few seconds to a few minutes at. Whereas if you're training like at your anaerobic threshold, your lactate threshold, you can spend several minutes, maybe up to an hour holding at that effort. So you want a mixture of all three of these: aerobic, very easy aerobic running, anaerobic efforts, and training at VO2 max effort. That is going to help you get under an hour and 30 minutes. You have to stay vigilant, motivated, and driven to get under an hour and 30 minutes. If you're close to this now, then you are already on the verge of becoming a 1:29 half marathoner or faster. So I hope this video has been helpful for you all. Leave a comment below if there's anything else I can help you out with. Give me a thumbs up if you appreciate this video. I really appreciate that as well. It helps the channel grow, and I really appreciate hearing from you all on where you are at in your training or in your racing. What's been giving you the biggest issues? Definitely leave me a comment. I'll definitely respond to you all, either in a response to your comment itself, or I'll make another video about what your particular question is. So I hope this video has been helpful for you all, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.